Well, Rammer Jammer, get out the planners, and let's schedule some magic here on the Bammer Slammer. Hey guys, if you're watching this live right now on our Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/SmackDraw, please don't forget to follow. And if you're in the chat with us, announce yourself. I want to shout you out, and thank you guys for joining us live in the show. Let's chat, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on everything we're talking about. And please let us know as we do tonight's event what you would do if you were us. Also, if you're watching this on the replay on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/SmackDraw Podcast, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and then click that bell so that no matter what time we post a video every single week, you'll get notified immediately. I'm posting videos on the Bammer Slammer. Kyle and RN are posting the Rewind, and sometimes we do some specialty shows. So no matter what we post, we want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the videos we post. So every time you click that bell, you'll get notified immediately, and we appreciate for that. Also, listen to us on whatever podcast platform you prefer. We're pretty much everywhere now. Leave us a 5-star rating. The more 5-star ratings we get, the more we're motivated to keep producing shows and putting out the best possible content we can. Also, leave us a comment. We'd love to hear from you. We want to respond to your comments. Our show's just as good on the ears as it is on the eyes. So we really hope and thank you for that. At this time, I'm going to introduce this awesome panel that has joined me this evening. First of all, right over here to my right, from the Windy City, this independent wrestler brings the shock and awe every time he steps into the ring. In addition to dropping the Southside Senton on his opponents, you can also watch him drop content on his Twitch channel and, of course, all over his social media. Welcome as we take cover Chicago's own Mr. Jay Thunder. Jay, welcome back to the show, sir.
What's going on? What is going on? I'm excited.
I'm excited to have you, man. So you were last on the show when we did the Crown Jewel preview, and a lot of your predictions came to pass, man. How did you feel about it?
You know what? I was very surprised because if everybody knows the Smack Raw family, it's kind of hard to do predictions, and usually my predictions are like literally not in the top 10. So it was a little bit exciting to actually have my predictions be up there somewhere. Yeah. So, it was good. It was really good. Like, I was excited.
Absolutely. And then right below Jay, diagonally down from me, he is the host of the Apron Bump podcast, which drops every Wednesday. He covers the best and worst of pro wrestling from the past and the present. No matter what show you watch from him, no matter what episode you hear, you're going to be entertained and you're going to learn something new. Welcome back to the Bammer Slammer, the hardest part of the ring, handsome Kyle. Kyle, how are you, sir?
I'm great, Dave. Thank you once again for having me on.
But I say you're becoming like a mainstay here on the show. I'm always fun. It's always fun to have you on, dude.
Yeah, I'm always down. Always down.
Absolutely. Well, to get into tonight, Kyle, this was actually a brainchild that I don't know if you had by yourself or you were talking about with somebody, but you brought up on a message and said, if you could do the WWE calendar, what would you do differently? So kind of give us the backstory. How did this come up?
Yeah, so recently I've started doing YouTube-specific stuff because obviously I do the podcast, I do a lot of retro stuff, but right. I'm going to start gearing the YouTube towards current kind of topics, kind of like this one. So I still might do that sometime in the future, but basically it was kind of just to probe all my followers and anybody who saw it, like how would they book the pay-per-view schedule. And I'm looking forward to doing that with you guys today because it's a topic I've been thinking about for a long time because I think there's a lot you can change with how they do things now. So, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Absolutely, 100% agree. And I am just excited to be able to go down this with you. So, guys, what we're going to talk about tonight is we're just going to open up and talk about if we could redo the WWE's pay-per-view calendar, if we could make it in the image we want to make it in, what would we change and why? Should the Royal Rumble stay in January? Should WrestleMania stay in the spring? Is SummerSlam better in June as opposed to August? And just so forth and so on. Where should the draft be? What about King of the Ring or the new Queen's Crown tournament? Where should we put these things? So I'm interested to see. And also, are some pay-per-views obsolete? Do some pay-per-views meaningless? Do they not even make sense anymore? So all of these questions we're going to try to answer tonight. Both these guys have done their homework. They've decided what their calendar needs to look like. We're going to actually start with WrestleMania and then build our way back to it. So that's the most important pay-per-view of the year for the WWE. It's the Super Bowl. This next year, they're going to be filling AT&T Stadium 2 nights in a row, Saturday night and Sunday night. If they get full capacity both nights, there will be 200,000 people at WrestleMania 38 this year. That is just mind-blowing to think about it.
The most stupendous WrestleMania. No, wait, what is it? The most
stupendous
WrestleMania. The second one, but it's going to be the most stupendous. Stupendous.
Guys, we also have to make sure that, because they like to add numbers and whatnot to their records. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
we don't know. We don't know if that'll be true or not.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to account for the set and the special effects and everything. But if you think about it, the stadium seats right at about just over 100,000 people with the field open. So you remove part of the end zone and put people on the floor. Yeah, they're going to get that capacity. I fully believe it. So it'll be interesting to see, though, what they decide. They're going to pull out all the stops. I know they're probably going to move up a couple of main events they had planned for a year from now, 2 years from now. They've got to hurry back some people that are probably on injury leave. They need every gun they have to sell out that capacity stadium. So I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. So in saying all that, I'll take the lead first, and we'll get started. So here is my calendar, all of you that are watching here. And so what I'm going to do then is we're just going to start, like I said, with WrestleMania, and I'm going to get my notes out here so I can make sure I stay on top of what it is. So since we're starting with WrestleMania, I'm going to come up here and select it. I'm actually going to move WrestleMania back to where it historically was for the longest time in history. It appeared in April, rarely back in the day. It actually was in March most of the time. And so, to me, March Mania, you got March Madness happening in the sports world. It just makes sense. The Super Bowl is right before March, usually, like the second week of February. So, I just think WrestleMania falls well there. It's a great place to put it. You're not cutting into people's vacations in the summer. A lot of people are still on their work schedules and school schedules. So, I just think WrestleMania in March works well. Both brands, both nights, of course. And what I put down as a special note is I would have the 2 Rumble winners, the matches that they're going for in the main events on night 1 and on night 2. I feel like they deserve that. No offense. I mean, Bully Ray says it on Busted Open. If you're not last, you want to be first. So sometimes they have the WWE Championship matches, the kickoff. Matter of fact, this last year, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley were the first match at WrestleMania. So I'm okay with that, but to me, it means more to win the Royal Rumble like Bianca did, and Bianca and Sasha were night 1's main event, and Edge won the Royal Rumble. He and Roman and Daniel Bryan were night 2's main event. It just makes sense. You win the biggest match of the year, so you should be in the biggest main event of the year. So to me, that's just where I would put it. So I would put WrestleMania in March and build the calendar back to it after that. Mr. J Thunder, let me come over to you, sir, now, and let me unlock your calendar here. There we go. Let's start with WrestleMania, sir. Where do you have it and why?
Okay, so first thing, I did want to ask you a question because I did see that you had made it like WrestleMania has two specific like it's a 2-day event.
2-day event, yeah.
Like, so would you still put it in March?
Yes.
Even if it's 1 day, like a full normal, like, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so that's not bad. So that's the cool thing. Bama, I was actually trying to fight between putting it in April or March because I'm so used to Mania being in April because now it's been a thing, recently.
Yeah, and it will be again next year, April 7th and 8th, I think, is when it's going to be next year. So don't.
But I think that March is like the biggest thing Like I think it sits well with Mania, so I definitely would put Mania in March. That is definitely
Okay.
a go-to. Like I said, I knew we were talking about it. I was like, yeah, I got some iffies because I would think that it would be April, but I put it in March. I think it's a well fit for it. The only thing that it has to compete with is March Madness. It doesn't have to compete with the Super Bowl. It doesn't really have to compete with the NBA playoffs or anything like that. Baseball is taken care of, so
Right.
we don't have to worry about that. And the Super Bowl is, like I said, because that's the main thing in that general area is the Super Bowl, so it's out of the way. Like it's either going to be in January. The Super Bowl is either going to be in January or February.
Right.
So we know for a fact that Mania it'll be maybe it'll be first or maybe it'll be second, because we all know that that in March Madness they compete with each other.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. And I just looked it up. It is April 2nd and 3rd. I was a week late. So April 2nd and 3rd of 2022 will be the 2 nights of WrestleMania. Awesome. Great thoughts, Jay. Mr. Kyle, where do you have WrestleMania and why, sir?
So, similar to you guys, kind of went back and forth between March and April. To me, April is where I have it.
Okay.
Mainly because WrestleMania to me is at least is what it should be, and it's something they've kind of drifted away from in recent years. To me, WrestleMania should be a culmination of storylines. It should not be a kickoff of something.
Correct.
Or I guess maybe a first time meeting. I guess that works too. But to me, WrestleMania should be you're building towards it, and then you get the payoff at WrestleMania.
Right.
So that's why I put it in April and not March, is so you can have those extra time to build towards WrestleMania. And it kind of fits it in the context of other shows I have within my calendar. So for that reason, I would say early April, which is pretty much where it's been.
Yeah.
But early April is where I would put WrestleMania.
Yeah.
For that reason.
And I should have specified that. If I say March, I'm going like last weekend of March. I'm going almost April, because I agree. I want that full 3 months or 4 months or whatever it is to build as much as I can towards WrestleMania. I do want the rivalries and stories to culminate there. And if there is a spectacle match, like, for instance, Roman Reigns versus The Rock, I don't want a 4-week build to that. I want to generate some intensity and build really big time towards that. Jade, I'm sorry, did you want to add anything else to yours and why?
I think, like, for the most part, like, that's just about the gist of it. I know that there are special manias that have happened in March.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that with it being at the end of the month, because all of those built, like, usually we're so used to seeing like the countdown every single
The road to WrestleMania.
The road to WrestleMania.
Yep.
So it's literally a it's literally something that I'm so used to.
Yep.
And like I said, all of your main, if I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, but all of your big Mania matches have probably had more significant moments in March. I mean, I would think so.
That's probably not a bad take. Yeah. Yeah, Kyle, if you're watching, dude, look up real quick and let me know, like, some of the big WrestleManias and where they've fallen. I would look it up, but I'm hosting here. But yeah,
some in my podcast that I've covered recently. So I believe 17 was in April.
Yeah,
17 was in April.
April Fool's Day.
It was April 1st. It was April 1st.
18 was in March.
Yep.
Yes.
So
yep.
2 of the biggest WrestleManias, and they've occurred.
So now, guys.
By the way,
yeah,
sorry,
go ahead.
one
No,
more
go ahead.
thing.
Go ahead.
For WrestleMania, I would include Money in the Bank in WrestleMania.
Oh, okay. So you're putting the Money in the Bank matches back at WrestleMania as part of the card.
And I would have.
I think that would be, yeah.
The men's one night, women's the other night, and this would replace the battle royals that they do, which have little to no meaning nowadays. So replace that. You take all your guys and girls that you don't really have plans for, and it gets them on the show, and it also builds them for future shows.
Interesting.
It gives them a meaningful match as opposed to battle royal that really you just pose with a trophy once and then it's gone.
Yeah, I would do a battle royal maybe on the pre-show, but then after that, all my titles are on the line both nights. Every single title I have is on the line both nights, and of course, 3, maybe 4 spectacle matches or intense rivalry matches, 2 on each night that people really want to see. So, and hopefully, the chase for the title is also intense and emotional, and not just about the title. So,
yes,
absolutely. So,
fun fact.
Go ahead.
Fun fact. Austin's last match was in March.
WrestleMania 19. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Yep. 100%. All right, guys. So now we are in. We're going to go to the month after. So for me and Jay, that's April. For Kyle, it's going to be May. So the month after WrestleMania, the start of the new year, I am going to put in April for me Backlash. And I just feel like this is a logical thing. There's been a few years they have not done this. Matter of fact, they took a hiatus from Backlash and brought it back. But to me, there's a few stories that kind of got started in February or maybe early March before WrestleMania really kicked off. And also some of the intense rivalries, screwy finish or the match at WrestleMania, the person we want to win or the person you didn't want to win, they want to close a story out. Backlash is a great way to do that. Tie up the loose ends on some of these stories. You know, God forbid if, like the whole thing with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan and Edge. You know, I don't know if you guys remember, Roman beat both of them, but Bryan got one more shot within a month afterwards. So that tied up the story with Daniel Bryan and sent him off into the sunset, and it also sent Edge off to recuperate as well. So I feel like having Backlash right after WrestleMania, just to tie up a lot of the major stories. Some stories are going to end at WrestleMania, brand new story next night on Raw, but probably the 4 or 5 big ones that really you were looking forward to, some of them might need one more match or one more little lingering effect. Backlash is a good way to tie those things up. So I would put Backlash in April. Mr. J Thunder, back to you, sir. What do you have in April?
Now, unfortunately, I hate the fact that like we're kind of like going into the same.
That's okay.
Kind of going into the same thing.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah, like so I chose just the name itself. Backlash is just because of the fact of, you know, Mania is your big event. This is where everything happens, and you know it's pretty much the backlash of everything that's happening. It's the beginning of a new story. It's the beginning of every single storyline that you could ever think of. Like back then sometimes it wasn't like that, because if everyone knows Mania, I'm trying to think, was it Backlash 2000? I think that was the year that Austin had came back, and
I think you're right.
I think that was the year that Austin came back.
Yep.
And interfered in the match.
Yeah, because he didn't compete at WrestleMania 2000. So
yeah, he didn't. And if I'm not mistaken, that was. Those storylines were all like kind of like started within Survivor Series of that year, because Austin got hit by we all know the story.
Yeah,
but he got hit. Mania, Austin wasn't in the at Survivor Series, Austin wasn't in the match, and then at Mania he wasn't in the match either, and it was a McMahon in every corner, and Austin was nowhere to be seen. And then as soon as Backlash hits, it's literally a refreshed. Like, it's a new coat of paint. So I think that's a good idea. And just the name itself, it kind of like, it's self-explanatory.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Mr. Handsome Kyle, what do you have in May, sir?
Well, I hate to be that guy, but also WrestleMania Backlash.
There we go. All right.
No, just Backlash. We get it's a WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah.
We don't need the name on the
we
thing.
have working brains. Let us use them.
Well, I mean, it's funny because like didn't was it this year or last year?
This year was called WrestleMania Backlash.
Yes. So yeah,
stupid.
I contemplated putting WrestleMania in front of all of my pay-per-view names, but
oh yeah, and then don't forget, guys, last year after WrestleMania 36, Backlash was in June. It was weird. That's where Edge and Randy had their greatest match ever.
Ever.
And in I think it was 2016, because I went to this one. It was in September.
SummerSlam Backlash, I guess.
Yeah. You know what? I guess that makes sense. Kind of. I never really thought of it that way, but yes, May. I put Backlash, kind of just based off what you guys are saying. Same kind of reasons. It's a new season, basically. It's a reaction to WrestleMania.
Absolutely.
And you want to capitalize. You want to, like you said, tie up some loose ends, but also kick off a new
some new things. Yeah,
exactly. Yes. Kick some things off, whether it's people debuting, people returning, major storyline starting. That all kicks off
100%.
Backlash. So it's
thank God it was actually in that backlash that I was talking about. It was in April of 2000. So it did. So it worked out. It worked itself out.
Yeah, and most backlashes happen literally within 3 to 4 weeks after WrestleMania, so they don't make you wait too long because they do want to they do want to move forward, tie up some things, and we all know the Raw and SmackDowns after WrestleMania are two of the biggest shows of the year, also. So they really want to build towards that next pay-per-view with a full head of steam. So I'm 100% agreement, guys. Let's go back up here, open mine up, go into May. Make sure I have this correct. Yep, May is where I am putting May for Money in the Bank. So I'm not. Okay. So once I've wrapped up my loose ends, and once I have my birthing of a few new stories happening at WrestleMania Backlash, I'm putting Money in the Bank in May. I have a couple of additional notes here. I am going to have a men's Money in the Bank, 3 or 4 from each brand, climbing up that ladder, trying to get that briefcase. For the women, same thing, 3 or 4 from each brand. One thing I would do differently, though, at Money in the Bank is I would have a 4-way tag team Money in the Bank match. I would add that. I would have the best 2 tag teams from Raw that qualify, the 2 best tag teams from SmackDown that qualify, classic Dudleys, Edge and Christian, Hardys, and APA or whoever happened to be the 4th tag team. Put those 4 in the corners of the ring. Whoever gets that briefcase can cash in anywhere, anytime on a tag team match and get a chance at tag team titles. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. I feel like that would add a little bit of edge. I almost said, should I do that for the women's tag team titles? There's not even 4 women's tag teams in the company. No. So I'm not doing that.
You got to care about the titles.
You got to care about them. But I think for the tag teams it would work. And, I thought about, well, should I unify the tag team championship? No, actually, it's even better because then you could be a Raw tag team and jump over to SmackDown if you feel like those tag team is more vulnerable, if you want to take a shot at them. So I just feel like that would be great. Of course, at Money in the Bank, usually there's a world title match or 2, a couple of mid-card title matches as well. So I would definitely fill the card up with some stories that I'm building out of Backlash and through the end of the spring. But the main thing is, of course, putting those briefcases on people that I want to build stories around, and I would find the best opportunity. Where do I want those cash-ins to be for all 3 categories, men's, women's, and tag team, because I don't like night after cash-ins unless they absolutely make sense. I don't even the night of cash-in with Bayley, as magical as it was, I didn't like it because it just cheapened the moment. I'd rather wait for it. I mean, yeah. Especially when you do it like the way Seth Rollins did it at WrestleMania, you can't top that. So it's like anything since then is what can we do to make this meaningful and memorable. And so they're trying things, but the Nikki ASH cash-in was not what it should have been. Big E's was okay. I liked Big E's. But they can do better, and I would definitely do better. But I would put Money in the Bank in May. So
I like that. Yeah. The reason I kept mine off, or at least I included it in WrestleMania, is because it gives you the opportunity to, if you want to skip a year potentially, because like you said, it's hard to create new scenarios. You don't want it to get stale. So maybe taking a break or at least putting it on WrestleMania to create that moment. Yeah. But I see what you're saying. Like I do enjoy Money in the Bank. I think we've talked about the gimmick pay-per-views.
It's one of the big 5 now.
Yes, it's established itself as one, and it's more often than not a great pay-per-view. So absolutely. I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and I contemplated putting the matches back at WrestleMania, and it does make sense because then you've got 1 year to cash it in. So if you don't cash it in until the next year's WrestleMania, but the only problem with that is if you haven't cashed it in and that's your last night, then everybody knows you're going to cash it in. So that's why I kind of like having it a little bit after WrestleMania. So then if you do cash it in at any of those pay-per-views, no one sees it coming. So
that's true.
So a little thing like that. All right, Mr. J Thunder, what do you have in May, sir?
So I think this was basically the issue that I had, because one of the issues that I have is that I don't want to put, I'm kind of with Kyle. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted to put the Money in the Bank matches
at WrestleMania
back at Mania.
Okay.
Like, I feel like with how Money in the Bank Money in the Bank hasn't always been it hasn't been hit or miss.
Right.
So it's kind of been like an average show.
Yep.
Unless it has like some storylines that are like, real big.
Yep.
It hasn't been like a big. It's like I would never still consider it as the Big Five or whatever people are calling it. Like I can never consider that.
That's okay.
The Big Five, the big pay-per-views are always gonna be Mania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, the Rumble, and that's it.
Yep.
Okay. So this is the one that I could not get a clear pay-per-view for. So I'm kind of just gonna go off, and I will just say that might be something that I wouldn't be able to answer just like right now.
just an empty month, a month.
It might be an empty month.
And you know what? There's actually nothing wrong with that if you're going to build something big in June. So
because my thing is like I wanted to have that pay-per-view and kind of just like a little spoiler, like I would rather have SummerSlam in July. That's just me.
Yep.
And I think having less pay-per-views in a year is a good thing, in my opinion, because I don't think you should force something every month. You give some feuds time to build. It makes the pay-per-views that do exist seem more meaningful. So I think having empty months is a practice that they should take in reality. So yeah, I think it's a good call, honestly.
All right, so I'm gonna put.
And I mean, I feel like it would be definitely good, just considering just how big the WWE is. Like you can afford to have a free month of no pay-per-view.
You definitely can.
Like that helps. First of all, that helps your superstars, that helps your talent, that helps the brand. Like you don't want people to get tired real quick.
Yep.
So like if you have a pay-per-view like every single month, then people are it's gonna get stale.
Yeah.
Like Mania is that example. Like, yeah, we have it in April or we have it in March.
Yeah.
But what winds up being the better what winds up being the better show? The Raw or the SmackDown after Mania?
Depends.
Like 9 times out of 10, that Raw or SmackDown after Mania could be the better show. And it's happened before.
It has happened.
So like for the most part, I definitely like, to be quite honest with you, thank you guys. I appreciate the help with that. But that free month might be it might be used for something big.
Yeah.
Or if anything, house shows. Those are literally house shows. Like it's May. Like in May, between May, June, and July and August, like those are the demographic is probably gonna be dipping because of the fact that people are on vacation, people
out of school.
Out of school. Like those are situations where you can literally put, So yeah, that's what I think, that it could work. That's all I'm saying. It could work.
Absolutely.
Because this is something else I also wanted to bring up. You can have big shows that aren't pay-per-views.
Absolutely.
Like you can have
absolutely.
We're seeing it with the AEW. Winter is coming. That feels like a big show, but it's just their weekly TV show.
Yep.
But that's fine. And I think that's something that I would love to see WWE utilize more often.
Absolutely.
Just make Raw feel special sometimes. Make SmackDown like that SmackDown where it was Roman versus Daniel Bryan.
Yes,
that felt like a big show.
Yes,
I think they should do that more. Even with Becky and Liv, felt pretty big. I think they should do that more often, and that can allow you to just do that during a month and not have a pay-per-view. I think that's
I mean, I don't have it blocked out exactly when I would do it, but I would bring back Raw Roulette. I would bring back any of the times where you made that I can't miss. And definitely, absolutely, I 100% agree with that. Over here in the chat, Kyle says, in his opinion, Money in the Bank is bigger than Survivor Series now. I hate to agree with him, but I do. I hate to agree with him, but I do. So
yeah,
that's just me. All right, Kyle. What do you have in?
I guess I'm the odd man out. All right, cool.
That's okay.
Cool. That's cool.
That's all right.
I appreciate that's the standard that was set. And
no, yeah, 100%. All right. Well, Kyle, what do you have in June, sir?
In June, so we had WrestleMania, we had Backlash, so now we have an established kind of new year going.
Mm-hmm.
So I think June can be that month where we kind of check the temperature of the fans. And the way to do that, a little tie in there. And a pay-per-view that you could do this with is Cyber Sunday.
I love it.
Ooh.
So I would put that in June. So let's say let's say you had a draft, before that. And let's say people debuted from NXT or people returned or whatever. And you have this whole new crop of talent, new rosters. Cyber Sunday could allow you to kind of gauge who they're supporting going forward, and that can let you kind of help plan out the entire rest of the year. Plus, it's just in today's day and age, it's crazy that they haven't brought this concept back. I know there's ways to manipulate.
I think they're afraid of what the IWC is going to say.
Right. Ultimately, yeah, that's probably the reason. But in an ideal world, let's just say we're in a utopia, nobody does that. I think it'd be a cool concept and so many people have access to be able to vote for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It would, get people engaged in the product, and it would just be to me, and this is kind of an overarching theme for my schedule, I think you have the big four, and then everything in between has to be a theme.
Yeah.
I don't want to just have the big pay-per-views and then little pay-per-views. I want the other pay-per-views
100%.
to have their own identities. And
Yes.
Cyber Sunday obviously has its own identity, and the concept. For anybody listening that is not aware, it's when you vote, you have a match and you can vote who's the champion facing or what the stipulation is going to be or something like that. Is it going to be a street fight, a hardcore match, or a no-holds-barred match,
Roman Reigns is the champion. Do you want Cesaro? Do you want not Daniel Bryan? Or do you want Jey Uso? Or do you want fill in the blank number 3? So yeah,
Right.
Absolutely, yeah,
exactly. So yeah, and I think Cyber Sunday would be a good pay-per-view to have after a reshuffle, in my opinion.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, for me, the month of June. We've finished up WrestleMania with Backlash, but we've also birthed a few new storylines that are carrying over into Money in the Bank. Now the Money in the Bank briefcases are in play in all 3 of my categories, and some of the rivalries that have gone into Money in the Bank, like for instance, Liv Morgan is going for the briefcase. Carmella costs her the chance to get it, so that birthed a little problem with there. Same thing in the men's Money in the briefcase. Big E and Seth Rollins were both in that match. Big E kept Seth Rollins from winning it, and that's why they have a little bit of a beef going on right now, because Big E's the champion, Seth isn't. All those stories came out of Money in the Bank, so you have some rivalries that are starting to form and some stories that are starting to be created. So you need a pay-per-view that I think will help maybe carry a few of those things into a deeper level. Also, there is every now and then, y'all might know this, every now and then there's a story that goes into WrestleMania. They go through Backlash. Then there's like a hiatus for a month or a month and a half. And then for some reason it kicks back up one more time. And it's like there's a defining, this has to be the last time we fight each other. I don't know if you guys remember in 2004, Shawn Michaels and Triple H had a 2-year rivalry off and on. And it culminated to WrestleMania 20, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit, triple threat. Chris Benoit won the match, and Chris Benoit, Triple H met at Backlash, but Shawn got right back in Hunter's face, and they said, this has to end. Bad blood, Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell.
And that's where the rivalry finally ended. So I feel like there needs to be maybe one more pay-per-view that allows these stories to continue. But so in June, going with the alliteration, I'm putting Judgment Day. I'm bringing a classic back, Judgment Day, which it actually stopped in the late 2000s. I think 2009 was the last Judgment Day we had. I always looked forward to it. I get it. It's kind of I don't want to say archaic. It's a concept of terminology centered around the Undertaker, and but I just like it because it's case closed. This is the end of whatever story this is. Or if there's a rivalry that just needs a push into a deeper level of animosity over a title or over a personal issue, Judgment Day is a good way to fuel that a little bit more. So I would put Judgment Day in June.
I like it. I like it.
That's what
it's a classic.
Yep. I love the colors of it. I love the haunting feel of it. and put it in the heart of June, right in the deep of the summer, Judgment Day, Hellfire, all of that. You can have the heat of June, building onto that as well. So, all right, Mr. J Thunder, do you have in June, sir? Now that you've skipped over May, what do you have in June?
So for June, I took, some feels. I wanted to bring back an old school pay-per-view. So I'm going with Fully Loaded.
Fully Loaded.
Yeah.
Nice.
I chose Fully Loaded because I feel like this is a pay-per-view it's like kind of like how Backlash is.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of sit here. Mania is the big blow up. Is pretty much everything is huge. Backlash is the aftermath of everything. You take some time off to cool off.
Yep.
And that's where in May, that's where all the storylines can like build up. You can use all of your shows to build up
to Fully Loaded.
Fully Loaded.
And it's a fully loaded show.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was definitely feeling, because I was like, why haven't they brought back Fully Loaded? Like I actually thought that it's a smooth show to put it. I mean, gimmick wise, I'm just saying. And like, say for instance, like if they have I always like the logo with the dice on it. So like if they wind up having to be in Vegas or something like that, it suits. So
yeah, the one I have has the I think it has the motorcycle ends on it. So that's the one.
No, I noticed. Yeah. But I like we got the gist of what was being.
I like the loaded dice better. It'd be like Double or Nothing for them. I like that.
Yeah,
and then if they wanted to, they can do a roulette wheel kind of gimmick.
There you
if
go.
They wanted to.
There you go.
Which is where at the same time Raw Roulette. Well, instead of it being Raw Roulette, it could just be roulette, Fully Loaded Roulette, and pretty much it'll kind of have that Cyber Sunday feel.
Yeah.
I
like it. I like it. You could get the big dice out and put a match stipulation on all 6 sides of the dice, roll it, whatever it lands on, that's the match you're going to have. Yeah. That would be great.
You could do a casino battle royale. You could
yep. Put a big poker chip at the top of the ladder.
Right, exactly.
Absolutely. You could do all kinds of stuff.
That poker chip could be like, that could be money or a shot at the title and at any given, but it kind of helps the storylines. So like, say for instance, this is the time where your storylines are kind of like at their peak, and now because of the fact of Mania's coming and gone, now we're kind of like after Fully Loaded, everything's kind of gonna go down.
You're underway now.
Everything's gonna go down.
Yep. I like it. All right, Kyle, what do you have in July, sir? Middle of the summer.
So July. So we blow our load in WrestleMania. We've got Backlash and Cyber Sunday kind of used to establish new stars, build new stories. So July is going to be the month where we kind of blast off towards SummerSlam. So for July, my pay-per-view is going to be King of the Ring.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and this, by the way, it's going to be the classic way. So when they have, I guess, either Final 8, Final 4, Final 8 can kind of drag on a little bit, but Final 4, I guess, is, I don't know. Either way, but it'd be a tournament based. It'd be based around the tournament. And winner gets a title shot at WrestleMania. This is a way, the tournaments.
Do you mean
tournaments in general?
Do you mean SummerSlam?
Yeah, what did I say? This is Survivor Series?
You said WrestleMania.
WrestleMania? Oh, yeah, SummerSlam, sorry.
Okay.
But yes, a tournament is a great way to give guys that haven't been utilized or like new faces a platform to not only wrestle and have great matches, but also to maybe even win the whole tournament. It gives you like a feasible way to win because it's just matches.
Yep.
And then you win it, and automatically you're a made man. And, whether the title shot's like a formal thing or if it's just kind of implied, I think it could be a good way to build something going into SummerSlam.
Yep.
So, and again, it's another theme. It's different than the other ones. So that's kind of why I put it there.
And I like that based off Cyber Sunday, you can kind of get a feel for where everybody's voting. That also helps you know who you want to put in the tournament. So
yep, exactly.
That's a really thing. Yeah, Kyle over here says he likes King of the Ring. But dude, I love it. King of the Ring was such a class. Some of the best matches in WWE history were at King of the Ring. Some of the
Mick Foley flew off the cage.
So he flew off the cage. Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon, one of the best matches either of them ever had. Stone Cold, Austin 316, King of the Ring 1996. So, yeah.
Mabel, right? Right? Savio Vega.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
That sounds like crickets right now.
Yeah, that's funny.
Quick plug. That's my episode I'm dropping
there you go.
tomorrow is King of the Ring 95.
There you go.
If you want to hear about an awful show.
So for me in July, I'm going to go over here and make sure. July, we're in the heart of the summer. This is where I am dropping SummerSlam.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm moving it back a month out of August into July. I just feel like July is the heart of the summer. Everybody's traveling for the summer. It is summer vacation time. SummerSlam I feel like it belongs in the heart of the summer in the middle of July. I feel like it looks better there. Actually, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, in summer of 2022 next year, SummerSlam is in July. So I think they're gonna, I think they're gonna back it up a month and they're gonna try it. Yeah. For me, SummerSlam is it's 4 months after WrestleMania. So the way I've got this booked is every 4 months is a big pay-per-view, and the one, not saying the ones before it aren't big, but they're gradually working their way towards a major pay-per-view. So WrestleMania is my spring one, and of course it's the biggest of the year. But then my next biggest one after that is SummerSlam, with Money in the Bank building into Judgment Day, building into SummerSlam. So now we're culminating those rivalries that got birthed after Backlash, through Money in the Bank, through Judgment Day. Now they're culminating to the biggest party of the summer at SummerSlam, and also maybe one spectacle match. You bring back a Brock Lesnar. You bring back fill in the blank, any legend that you want to bring back to have a dream match, like when Trish Stratus and Charlotte had their match a few years ago. This is where you do it. This is where you bring back those legends and give them a chance to give some shine and kind of pass the torch on to the next generation. If you can't do it at WrestleMania, SummerSlam's a great place to do it. And so I just feel like I would get more bang out of my buck having it here 1 month earlier, so that it's a 4 month build to it, and it allows me to open up the fall for the build towards the next major event. And you'll see the crescendo of that as we get into the fall months. So, but yeah, that's where I have SummerSlam.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. So, Mr. J Thunder, sir, what do you have in the month of July?
So, I don't know if, to going back to what I was saying, I wanted SummerSlam to be back in July.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I wanted SummerSlam to be back in July because I have something like specifically planned for August.
Okay.
Just a little special plan for August, because it's pretty much August is your, how should I say, what's the word I'm looking for? It's pretty much your farewell tour, pretty much, because the summer's getting ready to end.
Back to school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody's going back to school.
Yeah, the grand finale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that SummerSlam should be in the middle of the summer, not at the end of the summer. Like, with, I guess this is just one of those things where it's a gimmick pay-per-view. You gotta capitalize on it's summertime. Everybody's out. It's a party. Everyone likes to party in the summer.
Right.
Like the biggest party of the summer.
Yeah.
Your
vacation destination.
Exactly.
Yep.
And I mean, like, it would definitely be good if they could actually, I feel like, and this is just me, I feel like they should be able to, when it comes down to the big four pay-per-views, they need to look about as interesting as WrestleMania.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't really too much care about Backlash, the stage for Backlash, but for SummerSlam, if we're in Orlando, Florida, like
white sand, palm trees, oranges,
like,
exactly.
Like if it's the Rumble, like, I feel like, hey, you want to do something like, I think one time the Rumble kind of looked like it was a Roman Coliseum.
Yeah,
I like that. I thought that was dope. I thought it was cool.
Yep.
Like some themes are like really good.
Yep.
For our big four pay-per-views, and I don't see that they do that. And that would be something that would be cool. But me getting off a topic, I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's okay.
SummerSlam is the go-to for July. It'll actually be the biggest party of the summer.
I love it. Mr. Kyle, I believe I know what's coming for you as well in the month of August, but go ahead.
Look, I thought about maybe rebranding it to Winter Slam, just to try to be different. But I was like, you know what, SummerSlam, August, it just makes sense. To me, it works as a culmination of the summer. 'Cause I know it's like almost fall usually when it happens, but it's again, it's like the grand finale of the summer. It's the culmination of storylines since WrestleMania or whatever in the past months before it. So. It works, and I think I like what they've been doing. At least last year, they did it in the big arena.
Yes,
which was again, that means something because for a while it was kind of getting lost in the shuffle. It just felt like another pay-per-view. But as long as they keep with that, I think that's going to establish it as a huge event.
Yes.
Spectacles, returns, celebrities, all that stuff. So
100%.
SummerSlam in August for me.
I noticed we all have kept the terminology that is it just the tradition in us, or we just don't want to mess with the name SummerSlam?
Yeah, you can't. It's been going too long now. You can't turn back.
Yeah, I guess that's what it is. Yeah, I mean, would you call it? I guess you could try to reclaim the name Bash at the Beach, but I don't. I just feel like it would be. Yeah, I'm
surprised nobody wanted a Bash at the Beach or Great American Bash or something.
I think AEW through Cody Rhodes owns that now, so WWE couldn't even use it now if they wanted to. Yeah, they had Bash at the Beach 2020. So,
that's right.
I don't know. Right. I mean, maybe we could name it Summerfest.
Summerfest. Yeah.
Like, but I mean, here's the funny thing. I'm glad that you guys mentioned Bash at the Beach because I kind of wanted one. I kind of wanted it.
I thought about
it. But SummerSlam is just like it's more so built into our brains, just like Mania.
It's part of the history of the company. Yeah.
It feels big. It's just the name. It's like WrestleMania is a brand. You go to a show because it's WrestleMania, and SummerSlam's kind of the same thing.
Same thing. 100%. All right. My calendar now, I'm going to go to the month of August now. I am going to bring back actually one of my favorite pay-per-view names and one of my favorite pay-per-views just in my brain. Some of the best matches I've ever seen and have made a big impact on me as a fan took place in this pay-per-view. I'm bringing back Unforgiven.
Ooh, hello.
Unforgiven, right after SummerSlam. This is what Backlash is to WrestleMania. Unforgiven is to SummerSlam. Those lingering, intense rivalries that were started in the spring that need you to tie them up. This is where you tie them up. And also it's a good chance to birth a couple of new personal rivalries that started at SummerSlam or right after SummerSlam. Get them going. Give them a really gruesome place to go. John Cena versus Edge, that TLC match where that rivalry pretty much ended, was it Unforgiven. Triple H and Shawn Michaels versus the McMahons inside Hell in a Cell, that was an Unforgiven. Trish Stratus and Lita, Trish's last match, the ending of her career and the ending of their rivalry, was it Unforgiven.
All
the same show, by the way. Yes. Yeah. Unforgiven 2006 was one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. I love that pay-per-view. So, hey, Kyle, maybe we should redo that one. But that might be a fun one for your show. But yes, but also there's been some since then. I think John Cena versus what was the other one? He had was it
Great Khali?
Was it Great Khali or Sheamus? It was one of those intense rivalries that happens in Unforgiven. But and I think Triple H and Randy Orton was in Unforgiven one year. So there's all of these real Unforgiven means personal. It means
Kennel from Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like it's, as you can tell, guys, I'm building stories. To me, it's all about the rivalry. It's all about the building of the emotional investment of the people, because that's what makes people have to tune in every week, and that's what sells your pay-per-views and fills your stadiums. I want to see this guy get his tail kicked, this girl get her tail kicked, and I want to see the babyface win. And if the babyface gets put down by the heel, then I have to tune in the next night to find out what happens next. And so that's what I'm trying to build here. So SummerSlam is all about the spectacle and the party and the dream matches and all of that. Now let's carry it over into Unforgiven, and let's tie up some loose ends with these stories, and let's put Hell in a Cell here. There's no Hell in a Cell pay-per-view on my calendar because I want to be able to use that match anywhere, anytime if it fits the story, Vince McMahon. If it fits the story is where I want to put it. With TLC, the reason TLC mattered so much in John Cena versus Edge, Edge had never lost a TLC match. And he said, John, you get one more shot at me, and you're going to face me in my match that I've never lost. It doesn't need to be a pay-per-view. The match meant something because it took place that way. So, there you go.
Can I also say
go
that,
ahead.
You know, at another situation, the Hell in a Cell has kind of like been a spectacle where it either makes careers and it ends careers.
Yes, it does.
So Hell in a Cell, No Way Out, 2000, clearly one of those things.
Yep.
One of those things. Like, that's how a Hell in a Cell is supposed to be used. I should be able to use that at No Way Out. I should be able to use that Mania. I should be able to use it at Unforgiven. I should be able to use it whenever I feel like.
The last two times it's been used correctly, Triple H versus The Undertaker, WrestleMania 28, and this past Crown Jewel, Seth Rollins, Edge, Hell in a Cell. It made sense, and it felt right. That's the way it should be used. And that's the way I would use it at any of the at Judgment Day or Unforgiven. Anywhere I felt like, you know what, this rivalry needs to end. It's going to end inside Hell in a Cell or Last Man Standing or whatever the stipulation needs to be to make the story make sense. So.
I'll add Sasha and Bailey to that list.
Yes.
Even though it was at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, that was the one occurrence where it fit.
I wish it had more meat up until then. Now, granted, I know it's like we've had a rivalry and now we're just starting it back up again. But it felt like they went from 0 to 100 in 2 weeks.
They're kind of both heels too.
Yeah, it felt that. Yeah, but I agree. If you're going to end that rivalry and put them behind you, then. But what's funny is they did that and then they had a match 2 weeks later for the championship again. So it just oh well. Anyway, Mr. J Thunder, what do you have, sir, in the month of August?
Okay, so for the month of August, this is gonna be I'm gonna go on a whim, but it's the end of this. It's about to be the end of the summer, so I wanted to do a little something for our wonderful fans, especially the ones that are out in the UK. So it doesn't matter which one it is because they were both really good,
right?
I would either bring back Insurrection or Rebellion.
For the sake of my graphics, pick your favorite.
We'll go with Rebellion because I like
Rebellion. Okay.
Like, I think that would be a good fit just because 9 times out of 10 we're always in the United States. I mean, this is where it is, and it feels like, you have to give back to your fans, especially in the summertime where, summer is about to be over with. So why not give the fans a farewell and a thank you? You give them a farewell and a thank you.
Yeah. I know Drew McIntyre's been pushing real heavily to get a major pay-per-view back over there. So
yeah. Like, I think that in like either Insurrection or Rebellion would be good on an August where, SummerSlam literally just blew the roof off. And then Insurrection or Rebellion is about to blow the roof off over in the UK.
Yep.
And then we come back to the States and we got something else.
Absolutely. But okay, Kyle, you have now September, sir. Right after SummerSlam, what you got?
All right, so September. So we just had SummerSlam in August. So for me, I'm going to leave September blank.
Okay.
Because when I was building my list, I didn't want to have a pay-per-view every month. I actually ended up having a lot more than I thought I would. Just because you want them to feel special. And I feel like sometimes if you have a pay-per-view every month, they don't all feel special. They can if they're put in the right places, I guess. But to me, September is that month where you can, tour of the UK. I do like the idea of having like a rebellion, insurrection kind of deal, but tour of the UK. You could have a big takeover for NXT. You could do like a tag team special event of some sort. There's so many things you could do, like on TV and stuff. Maybe other special kind of events. But as far as a pay-per-view, I don't think September necessarily needs one. But that's just me. Yep.
All right, so let me get free down here and put it in your blank, and I got your black and gold colors there in case you want to put NXT there. All right, so you have that there. So real quick, guys, before we move into the next segment, let me go ahead and take care of that. So before we go into the next segment, guys, I just want to remind you guys that there's if you like the content you're hearing right now or content you're watching on your screen, there's two different ways you can help us and support us financially. And one of the ways is by going to our PayPal, and you can get a one-time donation there, paypal.me/SmackDrawPod if you want to give a one-time donation to help us out there. Another thing you can do to help us out is to go and visit our Patreon, patreon.com/SmackDrawPodcast. We have 4 different tiers there right now. The Untitled tier for $1 a month, Bammer Slammer Podcast tier for $5 a month, the Rewind tier for $10 a month, and the Elite tier for $25 a month. Depending on what tier you get, depends on how much you get from us. We got all kinds of stuff for you over there on the side. You can read all of that, including advertising for your brand. If you want to become an Elite member, we will plug your stuff on the show. We'll put logos on the show. All of the proceeds that we get on our Patreon or our PayPal do not go into our pockets, guys. They go right into making the show more successful. They go into our sticker packs. They go into our Zoom and our podcast expenses. They go into our content subscriptions, everything. We don't pay ourselves. Everything goes into making the show successful, better for you, the listener, and the viewer. So the better you take care of us, I promise you, the better job we're going to do taking care of you. All right, back to the show. Coming up here now out of August, Unforgiven, Alpha SummerSlam. Time to start the fall. Kick off the fall. School has started back in session. Everybody's getting their schedules underway. Everybody's getting into the fall season and building. This is the time to test the waters, to find out where the people are at, where the fans are at after the party, and wrapping up the Unforgiven storylines. You've seen probably a lot of the characters over the summer, a lot of similar stories, a lot of the same people on every single show. Now, fans, what do you want to see? What do you want to happen going forward as we build towards the next major events in the end of the fall? So this is where I'm dropping Cyber Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, I 100% agree with the concept. I think Cyber Sunday is a pay-per-view the WWE needs to consider bringing back. WWE, there's nothing wrong with listening to them and finding out what they want. Yeah, you're going to get some smart fans that want to go by their votes. I get it. You are. But you're also going to get some genuine interest from people. And if it is somebody that you don't know how it makes sense, accept the challenge, Mr. Bruce Pritchard. You might learn something. I really think that this would be fun. I would definitely have stipulation for just about every single match. If it's a storyline I want, in other words, let's throw it out there. If it's Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre, and I want that to be the story, those two people are in the match, and you know what? I'm going to give them 3 or 4 stipulations. I'm not going to give them anything crazy that derails my story, but I am going to give them a chance to say what they want to see, whether it's 2 out of 3 falls, last man standing, or a submission match, or a cage match. Yeah, let's find out what they want. Let's find out what kind of brutality they want to see. And for the ones I'm not sure of, for if you have a champion, then yeah, put 3 or 4 contenders there, and let's see who the fans want to face that champion. Let's see what storylines they want to see, and who they think is deserving or they want to get behind to see possibly get a title shot. So you never know.
Would you have a women's battle royal where you can vote on the outfits that they wear?
Heck no, I would not do that.
They would never do that.
Yeah, they would absolutely never do that.
Schoolgirls.
No way, I would have never do that. Never do that.
Oh, man.
Never do that. But I did. One of the ones I loved was, I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a championship match with all 3 champions, world champion, WWE champion, and ECW champion, and the stipulation was which title is on the line. And they voted for King Booker's world title. They wanted to see him lose it. in that match. So that was, and of course they figured out a way to keep the belt on him.
But in reality,
I was about to say, but he retained.
Yeah,
he retained. King Booga retained.
Was that Kevin Federline?
That was
that pay-per-view.
Yes, that was Kevin Federline.
That was Kevin Federline.
Yeah. Yeah, but I definitely think with good grief, WWE, you have polls on your website. You use Twitter for polls. The tools are in your hand. Just do it. If you don't want the fans to take over, then put options there to choose from that will feed into what you want. But give them a little bit of a chance to talk to you. Give them a little bit of a chance to say who they're your social media department is watching. Liv Morgan is in the position she's in because the fans are behind her, and you're listening and you're seeing that. So let the people speak and tell you what they want, and use Cyber Sunday as a chance to test the waters on what you're going to do with it. So, all right. So, Mr. J Thunder, we're back to you, sir. What do you have in the month of September?
Well, I'm going to. I hate that our minds are just kind of thinking somewhat alike, because
why is that a bad thing?
Well, because sometimes you want to have different of a matter of opinions.
Take care, blow up, man.
You want to have different matter of opinions.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like you got two people, they're like right here, and then you got Kyle right here. And he's like, well, I think
Kyle's a month behind us, basically, is what's happening.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Kyle's a month behind us, and it's like, but yeah, Cyber Sunday or for you fans out there, Taboo Tuesday.
Yeah. A pay-per-view on a Tuesday was very interesting.
I don't know, I think it was very interesting. I just knew it wasn't gonna work though.
No.
I figured it wasn't gonna work just because no one just goes and watches a pay-per-view on Tuesday.
But yet we do Crown Jewel on Thursday.
But I mean, that's kind of different.
Yeah, because it's 11 a.m. in the morning.
It's 11 a.m. in the morning. It's 11 a.m. in the morning, and
it's a whole time zone thing. It's a whole
that's a whole time zone thing. We're literally in our time zone, and we're about to have a pay-per-view at the normal time in the normal time, and I just got off of work. Yeah, you really think I want to sit here and I want to watch a pay-per-view? Yeah. I'm not even thinking. First of all, it's on a Tuesday. Usually back then, there was no wrestling on Tuesday.
No.
So know what I'm doing? I'm not even looking at the TV.
That's true, because I think SmackDown was on Friday at that time. Yeah.
It was either on Friday or it was on Thursday.
Right.
I remember that.
Right.
Ooh, good Lord, those Thursdays, man.
Amazing. Those were crazy. Absolutely.
Man.
All right. Awesome. Kyle, what do you have on your October, sir?
I want to hear this, because you guys are just putting out the good ideas, man, and I just want to. This is fun.
I have an idea what it is, but I'm waiting to see.
I hate to be cliche, but you got to do Halloween Havoc.
Yes, you do. I thought that was what was coming.
You got to. I mean, Halloween, it's like I was saying earlier, you want to have themes for these quote-unquote smaller, non-tentpole pay-per-views. So it's an easy way to do that. And WCW, I mean, Halloween Havoc was treated as a big time.
Yes,
it
was.
Gimmicky novelty kind of. It was a big pay-per-view event.
It was one of their big three. It really was.
It was. Yep. So you could easily establish this as a really serious pay-per-view. You can also incorporate spin the wheel, make the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Which can create scenarios which you wouldn't expect. Give you an avenue to build new stars, put people in situations you might not expect them.
Yep.
So it creates an element of unpredictability too. Aesthetically, it looks different than other pay-per-views, which is always good. It just makes sense to me. Halloween Havoc in October.
Now, would you have the big inflatable pumpkin they have to walk around?
Of course. Why bother doing it if you're not going to have that?
See, I would have the jack-o'-lantern mouth be the entranceway. They walk out through it. Yeah. With fire, with fire coming out the eyes, and
don't give them ideas.
Oh, they're never gonna do it. No, I love that idea, man. I really, really do. All right, for me, I'm in October now, and I'm I'm going to leave Halloween Havoc to NXT. I'm going to let them keep it. And I'm going to let them keep Great American Bash, and I'm going to let them keep what's the other WCW one they do now?
They do In Your House.
In Your House. They have In Your House. They have New Year's Evil.
War Games.
War Games. Yeah, there's the other one. Yeah. And they have NXT Vengeance now too. So I'm going to let them keep those and let them work around those. So, but for me, there's a pay-per-view that for over a decade was in October every single year. And it's also a place where some of the most intense stories and rivalries began to take place and take shape. And that is No Mercy. Also, the greatest wrestling video game of all time. So I'm bringing back No Mercy, and I'm putting it back in October where it was all those years. And going again, going off of again back to storylines and rivalry building. Cyber Sunday, the fans kind of gave you a clue of what they wanted, put you in stipulation matches. Some of those matches have screwy finishes, people getting screwed out of matches, people getting double teamed, triple teamed, or I know the stipulation was picked for me, so I'm going to use this to my advantage to retain my title, whatnot. This is a chance for No Mercy. Take that storyline deeper. The fans picked what happened to me last time. That title was never yours, so I'm going to beat you at No Mercy, and we're going to go into a title. We're going into a regular wrestling match where you can't beat me. That kind of stuff. This is a chance to deepen that story between the tag teams, between the women, between the men, for whatever it is. And No Mercy is just a great level playing field where all bets are off. No gimmicks. No fan interaction, you and me in the ring. Here we go. So that's what No Mercy has always been about. So that's where I would put it in October. So, Mr. J Thunder, sir, what are you putting in October?
So for October, I thought to myself, this one was a little bit tricky for me because I wanted to do Halloween Havoc.
Do it.
But what got me was the fact that NXT did a really good job. Everybody else, and it was better to keep even with In Your House, they did a very good job. So, they can do the Halloween Havoc, and they can have that. They can have that Halloween theme. It's cool.
Did you copy my notes, dude?
No. That's why I said I was like. Damn it!
You got me intrigued now. What do you have in October?
So in October, I have Unforgiven.
Okay,
that's the one that I have. That's the one that I have in Unforgiven. I was gonna do Judgment Day, but
I thought about that too. I thought
about putting Judgment Day in October. In October,
it makes sense.
Because of the fact that it's Halloween and it fits the theme, but I think Unforgiven fits the theme as well. Yeah. So I'm definitely gonna go with that. And this is kind of in the situation where we are right now. So I figure. So as you guys can see, in August we're at Rebellion. I figure that around that time, these rivalries are building up.
Yeah.
Because we just got off of Fully Loaded.
Yeah.
SummerSlam, we had fun.
Yep.
We just gave some farewells to the fans.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So now we're getting into September, and now the real stuff is about to go down now.
Yep.
Because now we're about to start getting towards that way towards Mania.
Here's the meat of the schedule. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right, Mr. Kyle, what do you have in November?
Again, I hate to be predictable, but you got to do Survivor Series.
Do you have to?
It's the Thanksgiving Day tradition, man. You can't put it anywhere else. Plus, where, at least for me, where it sits among the other big four, it makes sense because you want to stagger it evenly as possible. At least that's what my logic was.
100%.
But I would not. It's not the one time a year where the brands compete. We're not doing that anymore. That's no longer a thing. In fact, I don't have any brand versus brand event on my calendar personally. I think that's something that If it pops up organically, maybe you do it at Survivor Series, but you don't have to shoehorn it in every year.
Right.
Maybe do it as like a little event, like not necessarily one where you like build towards, but just kind of off of, do it like on the network, just randomly, it's whatever. But Survivor Series, bring it back to, what it was like in the 90s when you would have, you had the $1 million corporation versus the Guts and Glory and like stuff from that. So you get all these like weird teams, and then you have it, capped off with a big title match, maybe a couple big title matches, but then in between you have these kind of spectacle, traditional Survivor Series matches. So, and then if it makes sense, like again, you don't have to do this every year, but this could be an easy way to incorporate an Elimination Chamber match. Yeah. Or if they even wanted to bring War Games to the main roster, like one of those big, with the structure, you have to survive, so it would play into it. For me, Survivor Series in November.
Yeah, makes sense. First ever Elimination Chamber match was at Survivor Series. So
2002.
And I definitely 100% can see the logic in that. That's a great point. For me, going into November, here we go. This is again, WrestleMania is a 4-month build to it, and we'll talk about that coming up when we get to December. 4-month build from Backlash up to SummerSlam. Now the culmination 4-month build from Unforgiven through Cyber Sunday through No Mercy. Going into November, this is my big pay-per-view of the fall, Night of Champions.
Okay, not Clash of Champions?
Not Clash. Clash of Champions implies the champions from the shows clash into each other. That's not what this is. This is Night of Champions, where every title in the company is on the line. So what's happening is No Mercy could be a stipulation match, could be non-title, could be mainly rivalry-based, or could be trying to figure out who the number one contenders are going to be. No Mercy is about getting from Cyber Sunday to Night of Champions, where now the titles will be defended, will be on the line. This is the last-ditch effort for some of these baby faces to get that title off those heels, and this is the last-ditch effort for the heels to get the titles back off the baby faces. So this is the place where we know the titles will be on the line via stipulation matches, culmination matches, John Cena versus Triple H, Night of Champions. Some really, really great matches in the past took place at this pay-per-view. I just love the idea of having a pay-per-view where from the beginning of the card to the pre-show to the main event, every single match is a title match. There's something cool about that. So because it's a pay-per-view like that, it's the culmination. This is now officially in terms of the big five. This is my number 5. I'm putting a lot of emphasis on this. The set will have titles everywhere. The ring will have the champions will get the big entrances. Everything about this makes the titles seem valuable, seem like they're worth more than the company makes them appear to be worth. Well, let's not get into how they're treating some of the titles in the company right now.
It'll be a whole different podcast itself.
Absolutely. But yeah, from the No Mercy build up into Night of Champions, the stories that are taking place there, by the time these matches happen at Night of Champions, you want to see every one of them because I want that title, or I want to keep my title. It's going to mean something. And so I'm hoping that I can do that with this by doing Night of Champions in November. Okay, Mr. J Thunder, sir, what do you got going on in November?
All right, so I kind of was a little predictable because I wanted to
Survivor Series.
Yeah, I was pretty predictable. I wanted Survivor Series in that October-November phase. I'm kind of along with Kyle.
Okay,
it's kind of that thing where like I kind of wanted them to, I guess because I felt that Survivor Series 02 just felt beautiful.
It was great.
It felt right. It felt like it was right.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't feel like it was rushed, and it felt like the elimination chamber. Even though, fun fact, everybody, if everyone doesn't know, the elimination chamber match was a mess. Number one, and everyone in that match said it was a mess.
Did y'all watch the Ruthless Aggression episode Innovations where they talk about it?
Yes,
I did.
Oh my gosh, they were like they remember they closed it on Triple H's face and they said, "What do you think?" He said, "Somebody's gonna get effed up."
Yeah, Booker T's like, I have a bad feeling, man. Something bad's gonna happen. It's like, well, Nostradamus looking into the
and that's my thing. Like, but for some strange reason, it still worked out.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't have known. Like in that match as a fan, you wouldn't have known anything had happened whatsoever. Like if it wasn't for the fact that now we know what goes on in the business, back then it was a totally different, totally different field.
100%.
Like it was a totally different field. It wasn't like we knew, like, oh well, you know what, this is about to be a shit show.
Yeah,
yeah. Like we didn't know it was gonna be that.
Yeah.
So, and then like I like if it's a brand warfare that people want, like it has to be storyline related.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Like it has to be storyline related. Like I've loved their certain situations. Like I hated the fact that they replaced at some point. I feel like they replaced at some point in time. They replaced Survivor Series with bragging rights.
They melded them together and had whatever baby this is now. That's what they did. So.
Yeah. I think that Survivor Series is the best bet to go for November, just because I feel just being the traditional guy that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because usually it's in October.
No, it's always in November.
Oh, it's always in November.
Yeah.
So okay, so yeah, like I think it just there are pay-per-views and events that you sit here and you think, you're like, man, it belongs there.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Rumble, always, it doesn't matter what time you put it on, like, you know, it's the beginning of the year.
Yep.
And at the beginning of the year, you know what happens.
Yep.
The Rumble happens.
Yep.
Like, you know that in March or April, Mania is about to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Survivor Series, it's, you know, Thanksgiving,
yep.
but it's also about surviving.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, in December, you know,
survive the family's cooking.
Yeah. And you know, in December, you know, it's the tribute to the troops, you know.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
It just feels right, you know.
Yeah.
So sorry about my blabbing in my
No, dude. No, talk all you want, man. I love hearing the thought process on this. Yeah, and for the simple reason that, you know, I'm the oddball here that doesn't have it there, and the simple reason is simply because, you know, it's not what it was, and because of Survivor Series, as long as the brand split is what it is, they're never going to go back to just team versus team. It just, unfortunately, they don't want to have bragging rights and then have Survivor Series. I even think that, now granted, what year was it that it was like Team Angle versus Team Shane McMahon for the winner gets the rights to SmackDown or something? That was like
16.
See, okay, they pulled an audible there and said, okay, now let's make it about Survivor Series. So that was one of the rare times it made sense, but 9 times out of 10, they'll
16 and 05. 05 was the other year where they got it right. That was the first time they did the first brand stuff, and it felt awesome.
Yeah, 100%. That's right in the heart of Riz's aggression.
I don't know. Funny thing about it is, I think that you at some point, because it didn't at one point they did have NXT a part of it as
19.
Yeah, 19.
I loved it.
That was good.
Yes.
Like, I thought that was a good thing for it. But I think that was just because of how popular NXT was.
Yes.
And how much it was blowing up.
But yeah, I loved 19. That was great. Absolutely great. Kyle, what do you have in December, sir?
So December, I have November, December, notoriously kind of a down
Christmas
period
Clash
for wrestling. No. Man, now I have to rethink that. But,
no, don't do it.
So, he had it. He thought about it.
Yeah, our next episode, maybe I'll incorporate that in there. But that's kind of why I put Survivor Series, because you can have it kind of a gimmicky kind of thing where, you know, there's not too much going on. But in December for me is where I'd put Evolution.
Oh.
And so this would be a time of year where you could put, you know, pay-per-views in December are notoriously kind of like, it feels like you've gone through the entire year. You're kind of just waiting for the Rumble. You're not really paying too much attention. But I think Evolution could be something to spark interest. I was kind of going back and forth on this because I don't know if you necessarily need this every year. I think that this could be also an opportunity to have the culmination of the Queen's Crown tournament.
Crown them here, yeah.
And because I considered maybe doing that, combining that with King of the Ring in July, but I feel like that might be too redundant. Like this past Crown's Jewel kind of felt like they meshed together a little bit. So I like separating them,
right?
And not just having one King of the Ring pay-per-view and one Queen's Crown pay-per-view, because it'll separate them further if one's its own and one's incorporated in Evolution. And it's not diminished in Evolution because it's all women's pay-per-view. It has its own significance. So but you could also have, the NXT, like they did last time, NXT titles. You could have both the world titles, the tag team titles, if you wanted to do another Mae Young Classic.
And two girls that just hate each other, that just want to have a fight.
Exactly. And it has, like the last Evolution they did, or it's the only one they did.
The only one,
it felt different. Like it had a different vibe to it, which I think is good. So, again, just separating itself from other pay-per-views and giving something worthwhile to watch. And
100%. 100%. Like I said, you're proving you could pull it off. So by all means, that would definitely work 100%. Okay, for me, going into December, I've got a few notes here. I'm going to try to see if I can pull this off and drop these in here. So coming out of Night of Champions, the very next week, in late November into early December, I'm going to put these in here small, and I'm going to put them on the borders just to make them work. But coming out of November, going into December, is where I begin my King of the Ring and Queen's Crown tournaments. They're going to come right off. They're going to come right off of Night of Champions. They're going to build through the Christmas season, and they're going to culminate at my December pay-per-view, which is right at the end of the holiday, probably the Sunday before Christmas. This is where I'm going to put bragging rights. I'm bringing it back, and I'm putting it right here. Because if you think about it, the Queen's Crown and the King of the Ring tournament culminate in what? A SmackDown versus Raw competitor for that title. So that's where I'm put. So that's why my thought was on this. Let the tournaments kick off. Let them start and go through the month and culminate to bragging rights, where you're gonna have a SmackDown versus a Raw person fighting for the King of the Ring and fighting for the Queen's Crown tournament winner, and they will crown them at bragging rights. So the King of the Ring and the Queen's Crown winners will be crowned at bragging rights. You will have the World Champion or the Universal Champion versus WWE Champion, SmackDown title tag team versus Raw tag team. Go down the list. Intercontinental Champion versus U.S. Champion, Raw versus SmackDown Women's, all of that. And I would put a tag team match, the best tag team, women's tag team from whichever brand facing the current women's championship. Maybe like a triple threat, one Raw team, one SmackDown team, and the women's tag team champions in the mix. Whichever brand wins it, fine. But my point in doing this is that to make bragging rights mean something, there are two implications here. One is for the Royal Rumble, and that is the King and Queen. Whoever wins the King of the Ring and wins the Queen's Crown tournament, they also earn number 30 in the Royal Rumble in January. So the King, it's the Royal Rumble. So why can't the King and the Queen get the spoils of their victory and get that coveted number 30 spot? So if you're the King of the Ring and you're the Queen of the Ring, let's just put it there, then you get to be number 30 in the Royal Rumble a month later. So, but then also for the draft, and I don't have the draft logo, but I would put the draft, I've got it here, the last Monday Night Raw and the last Friday SmackDown of the year. Those are always throwaway shows. They're always stupid. Make them mean something. Turn of the year, brand new year. Even do it on New Year's if you want to. But the last SmackDown and last Raw of the year is where the draft is going to be. Here's what I have written down. The brand that wins the most matches gets the first pick in both nights of the draft. And not only that, whatever champion wins their match at bragging rights, they cannot be drafted from their show. If Roman Reigns wins his match at bragging rights, he will not leave SmackDown. He gets to stay.
This is giving me some 2002 vibes.
That's my point. Why have brand versus brand if you're not playing for something? If it doesn't mean something, that's even more incentive to go. Okay, this is my kingdom. This is my show. This is my brand. I built this brand. I'm not going back into that draft pool when I've made waves here. Well, then win your match. You know, and it also sets up for the company to think and for the networks to say we can't afford to lose this person. Becky cannot go back to SmackDown. We need her on Raw. Well, then she's got to win her match. You know, and so again, for this now, bragging rights means something, and you have Raw versus SmackDown and the King and the Queen. So all of this happens, and when the draft does happen, I know I'm doing a lot of talking here because it's December. I've got all this. But also, guys, December is usually a throwaway month, like you say, Kyle. Now you got the King of the Ring, you got the Queen's Crown tournament, you got bragging rights, and you got the draft. Now December's loaded. It's got a whole lot of stuff happening to make it a must-watch month. And the last thing I have here is when the draft does happen, I would do it exactly like the very first draft. We have the locker rooms. Everybody's sitting down waiting on their result. When your name gets called, immediately Sarah Schreiber or Kevin, whatever his last name is, he's standing right there by the door. You stand up out of your chair, you walk over, they put a mic in your face. You just got drafted to whatever show, or you got drafted to stay here. What are your thoughts? And give these guys 30 seconds to cut a promo, and let us hear what they think. So
yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like the not being able to get drafted because that kind of establishes that you want to stay on the brand, and that kind of like builds a culture of like, okay, brand identity is important. Like, the brand that I'm on is important. So I do like that aspect of it.
100%. And the last thing I'll say is let's say, for instance, that happened this year, and Liv Morgan is fighting Becky Lynch at this pay-per-view for whatever reason, back it up. So Liv lost to Becky. Now they're going into bragging rights, and Liv is in a match and she loses, and she gets drafted because she lost her match over to SmackDown. Well, now Becky can wave with that cocky smile and go, now you'll never get another shot because you're on a whole other show. Mm-hmm. So what does that make us want to see? Her win the Rumble. It adds all these layers that they can use in their storytelling to make us want to get behind certain people, make us want to see people not get drafted, make us want to see people get drafted. It makes everything mean something, and it makes everything make sense. So I'm trying to tell good stories here. Yeah. So I know I talked a lot, but I had a lot of stuff there to set up.
The one thing, though, so if you have, let's say, like Becky Lynch versus Charlotte this past year, they were both champions that faced each other, and Becky won, so she can't get drafted, but Charlotte can.
Right.
So say Charlotte gets, I don't even remember what happened, honestly, but did Charlotte got drafted to Raw, right? Or did they switch?
They switched.
They switched, yes. But let's say, since Becky can't get traded, and let's say Charlotte goes over to Raw, then now you have two women's champions on the same brand. So that kind of has this little issue there. I guess there's maybe ways to...
Yeah, there's definitely...
I mean, either way, I would figure that, you know...
Well, then when the SmackDown gets that pick, they better pick Charlotte. You know, they better keep her. So
I would figure that eventually WWE would sit here and they would, when it comes down to that that problem happening, like they're going to pick that person again. Like, say for instance, like that's happened a couple times in the draft. Like at some point in time, in 05, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't both Batista and Cena was on SmackDown,
right?
And Batista got drafted to
SmackDown from Raw,
from Raw.
Yep.
And Cena was already on SmackDown,
and he got drafted over to Raw.
Yeah, and he got drafted over to Raw. So like I feel like, you know,
you can make it work.
Politics, you can make it work. Like politics are you're gonna politic your way to get, you know, a champion on a show.
And and God forbid if the fail safes don't work, you have a Money in the Bank contract you can use to get that title back over. Yeah. So there's ways to do it, but again, like I said, I'm trying to load up December because it's always a throwaway month, and I really the biggest thing out of this is not only to make the draft mean something, but now that number 30 spot means something, and you want to be king and you want to be queen because then you get that spot. So that's going to be really, really important for that. All right. I'm going to shut up now. Mr. J Thunder, what do you have in December, sir?
So I don't think I mentioned this pay-per-view graphic. So you may or may not have it, but we're literally just gonna go on a whim here. So I was gonna use December, like just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna use it for King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring. Like I was gonna use it, like I would put it into one show.
Oh, okay.
Like I'd rather put it into one show just to not have that whole gender situation happen.
Yeah.
So they're both like you have both shows where
I'll just put them side by side. That's fine.
Yeah, it's equality. Like like we know how the world is now. So you want to make sure that everyone is equal. But in hindsight, at the end of December, I wanted New Year's Revolution. That's what I wanted.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. That year, that's what I wanted. I wanted New Year's Revolution because this is literally the end of the year, and everything will literally just be, going haywire. It's literally all or nothing for that year. Not only that, it makes the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring have meaning to it.
So you've got all three wrapped into one.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, actually, no. They will all be in the same. They'll be in the same month. But I would give the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring. I would literally give them like their own show, like maybe in the on the first like weekend of the month, and New Year's Revolution
at the end of the month.
Be at the end of the month.
Okay.
Just to kind of like give the feel for it's the end of the year.
Yeah. So like the very last Sunday in December is New Year's Revolution.
Yep.
I like it. I like it a
and
lot.
I think that would be a strong, like, just to give everybody, just to kind of like give everybody a little something.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that we got some equality going in here.
Yeah.
We also want to play to the theme. Like everyone knows that it's the end of the year. So what is your New Year's resolution?
Yeah. Yeah. And just because you brought it up, I'll just say my one thing. The reason why I don't want to have an all men's and all women's pay-per-view, and again, this is just my personal thing, is because I want it to be known, and it has been proven, or especially over these last few years, that the women can have a pay-per-view and it's fine, and they can have the main event and it's fine. If Charlotte versus... I understand why you kicked off the night with Charlotte versus Becky, but that was the most invested storyline of that pay-per-view, and it could have main evented, and in my opinion, it probably should have main evented. So I think that I want the women to be told, look, you don't need your own pay-per-view to steal the show. If you think your story is better, or you think your character development is better, or your rivalry is better, then prove it to us, and we'll put you in the main event, and we'll put Roman in the opening match, and he can have an attitude of, I want to get over with and go home, or whatever, whatever, equality across the board, whatever the best story is, gets the main shot, gets the main event, whatever it is. So, yeah.
I honestly feel like with this whole equality situation, like I feel like women should have, like, I'm not saying like give them like the same amount of matches that the males do.
No, you can't.
Because you can't.
There's way too many more.
Like, there's way too many, males that are doing this in the business. But all I'm saying is that there shouldn't be like, it shouldn't be like how it was in the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, where it's just only one match.
No,
we're gonna let
them go. We're gonna let them go.
Yeah. We're gonna let them go. We're gonna let them go. Like even if it's a tag team match, even if it's I'd say literally you could put for women's matches, you can at least put 3, just because of the fact that like I know that these women can go. Like you could at least put 3, or like in 4 maybe pushing it, but you could at least put 3 women's matches on the card.
Easily. Yeah. Raw champion, SmackDown champion, women's tag team. There you go.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Easy.
All right. Mr. Kyle, you are back to January, sir. Are you gonna put the Rumble in February?
Great balls of fire. No, just kidding.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, Royal Rumble. It kicks off the road to WrestleMania. It kicks off the year. You have January to April to build to WrestleMania. It's worked thus far. I see no reason to fiddle with it. I thought about different ways to kind of incorporate it throughout the year, but January to me it just makes the most sense. So short and sweet, but yeah, Royal Rumble in January.
Is there anything about the current Rumble format you would address or you would make more pliable to what you're trying to do towards WrestleMania?
No, I think they pretty much got it set. I like your idea of the winners of each one main eventing each night of WrestleMania. I think that makes sense. But as far as what they got going on, I think it works. They usually, I guess, bookend the show with women's, men's, whichever one they want to main event. So I like what I like. It's an event that so many people look forward to. It's a lot of people's favorite pay-per-view, including mine. So yeah, I think it just works. So don't fix what ain't broke, as they say.
I get it, man. I get it, 100%. All right. For me, like you just said, it just makes sense. So why change it? So I am putting the Royal Rumble into January. I agree. Like I said, my King of the Ring and my Queen's Crown winner are going to get those coveted number 30 spots. And the only other notes I have for it is all 4 major singles titles will be defended. They're not defended at Night of they're not defended at bragging rights because it's brand versus brand. So the Universal, WWE, SmackDown Women's, Raw Women's Champions, they're not on the line. So this is where they are on the line. All 4 of those titles will be defended at the Royal Rumble, and also I have the mid card and tag team titles will be defended either the week before or the week after to make that season of 14 days a lot of gold being taken care of, because you want to then have a good building towards, okay, now that we know where the titles sit, how are they going to build towards WrestleMania? What's going to be the story going forward for those championships as we get closer to WrestleMania? But then, those 4 titles will be defended there. The Rumbles will take place, so I'm guessing only 6 matches, the 4 titles, and then those 2 Rumbles. And I like your idea of putting one at the beginning, one at the end, or spacing them out.
Just do both at the same time, like that Money in the Bank match.
There you go. Why not? Why not? There you go. Why not? Yeah. So I just think it works. And like I said, the winner of whichever the better story is. Okay, ladies, you want to get night 2's main event? Tell a better story than the men do, and you'll have it. So that's what I want. And I am waiting for that. I don't know who it's going to be, but I am waiting to see when now that we have the night 2 and night 1 system, when will be the first women's real main event on night 2 of WrestleMania on Sunday. I am looking forward to what that's going to be and who it's going to be. Interesting to me. All right, Mr. J Thunder, are you going to follow suit as the Royal Rumble in January?
Of course. The Rumble stays in January. Come on now. Good. When you wake up in the morning in January and you're excited, what is the main thing that you're excited for? The Rumble.
Yeah.
Day 1. Oh.
Like that's day 1. That's day 1. Like, come on now. Like
I'm looking forward to day 1 though. That's gonna be a heck of a show. I'm looking forward to it.
Like, it makes it so much better now that with the Rumble, we now have the women's Royal Rumble now. So that makes it a lot better, and it makes it more what's the word? It makes it mean something.
Yeah.
And this is just the setup for Mania.
Yeah.
Like, this is where I guess the storylines right here are put up or shut up.
Yeah.
Like, it's big. It's big. It's big game feel. Game feel. It's literally, this is literally playoff time. This is literally where it's at. Like, I feel like in a way, wrestling, well, the WWE, they usually treat this like, they treat it like football. Like, most of your average ass pay-per-views are literally after Mania. When we get to the Rumble, that whole vibe changes.
Yeah.
That whole vibe just changes.
We're on the road to WrestleMania now.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we're on the road to WrestleMania, but that vibe is just different. Yep. Your vibe is different. From SummerSlam. Your vibe is different from Survivor Series. Once you get to that Rumble, it's like, oh, it's about to go down. And Mania's, it's literally it's like in wrestling you have like these resets. Like summertime is a big reset. Thanksgiving for Survivor Series, definitely a big reset. Well, no, not really.
Kind of.
I'd say December is pretty much that reset. But even though we have that reset, the Rumble just completely just says, you know what, we're gonna throw this away, and this is what we're doing. And then all hell breaks loose. Everything is totally
this is our guy, this is our girl, here we go. 100%.
So yeah, Rumble is definitely the January show, and I'm with it. Like I'm definitely with it. I thought about for like maybe giving it like a buy, but Rumble this is where it's at. I only give it a buy just because Mania is like Rumble, the Royal Rumble is kind of like it's some way competing with the Super Bowl. And if you're watching, if you're like me, well, I'm gonna pick the Rumble before I pick the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. Like
I would too.
I would too.
But average people who watch, your average wrestler watchers, I mean, they're probably gonna pick the Super Bowl.
And fun fact, this next year, the Royal Rumble will be on Saturday, January 29th, 2022.
That's weird.
Nice. Yeah. That's weird. It'd be interesting to be on a Saturday. Mr. Kyle, you got 2 months to fill in. What you got in February, sir?
February got Fastlane.
All right.
The name makes sense. It's on the road to WrestleMania. It's to spoil it, but it's my last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. So it's that one pivot point in between Rumble and Mania where you can have last-minute storyline implications happen on this event. And it's just kind of, it's a roadblock, I guess you could say, on the road to WrestleMania. And it's a way to enhance stories going into the biggest show of the year.
Okay, awesome. All right, coming back over to me, my last month. And no surprise, this is the only gimmick pay-per-view. I guess Money in the Bank could be the other one. This is the only gimmick pay-per-view that I love where they have it, and I love why they have it there, and that's Elimination Chamber. Let's say the Royal Rumble winner picks the Universal Champion for WrestleMania, and the Royal Rumble winner picks the Raw Women's Champion for WrestleMania. WWE Champion and SmackDown Women's Champion need challengers. Throw them in the Elimination Chamber. Whoever wins gets the shot. It just ties up that loose end, helps you make some stars. And if you want to do a tournament or something for the other challenger, like was it 2 years ago they threw the tag teams in there for the tag team championships? You could do that. You could do an Intercontinental Championship Elimination Chamber or United States Championship Elimination Chamber. You can have some fun with it, but I just think as a default, this Rumble winner picked this title. This Rumble winner picked that title. We got 2 titles that need challengers. 2 chamber matches. We'll flesh that out for us. So that's how we get our challengers for the other belts. I just think it's simple, easy math. And is it too simple and predictable? Yeah, but you know what? It works. And people will still get excited about the match because, okay, who's going to be the guy? Who's going to be the girl? Who's going to be that vacant spot? That's intriguing. We want to see that match. We have to see what happens.
Like a last chance opportunity, like a secondary Royal Rumble. Almost.
Exactly. And this is kind of where I'm with you, Kyle. Let's say Bayley wins the Rumble and she says, SmackDown's my show. I'm picking Charlotte. Put Liv in the chamber. Let her win. Becky, I'm coming back. So that's how you get her. That's how you get that storyline back on track, and that's how you can finish it out. So it's great. No matter what you do with it, to keep the stories going, make it work. Then that's how we do it. So that's my year building up all the way to WrestleMania, and then we start over and we go again and we make it work all over again. Mr. J Thunder, let's close it out. What you got in February, sir?
All right. So for February, I got an old school favorite.
All right.
it's something that I've mentioned before. I mentioned earlier.
Uh-huh.
This is usually I'm kind of just doing some old school booking because this was usually the pay-per-view before Mania
in February.
Yes. So you would usually go with No Way Out.
I thought you were gonna say it. I loved No Way Out.
So yeah, I definitely go with No Way Out, and this could literally, like, in the same instance that you put in for Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
Like, instead of, like, I feel like the Elimination Chamber, I would like to keep at Survivor Series. That is a thing that I would rather keep at Survivor Series because it's not, number one, it's not used all the time,
right?
And hitting it with Survivor Series, it's a big feel moment. It makes Survivor Series feel big because I always felt that Survivor Series 02 was by far one of the better Survivor Series out of maybe if not the best of all time.
It was a great one.
So I feel like using that formula would work.
I agree.
You have your main event. Like, you could have, to be quite honest with you, because of the fact that it's a cross-brand show. Like, you can have an Elimination Chamber for Raw, and you can have an Elimination Chamber for SmackDown.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's not used like ladder matches are used, or like Teddy Long uses tag team matches.
Yep.
Like,
that's funny.
So, like, I definitely, and then this No Way Out, it usually, you can literally use that Hell in a Cell gimmick. You can use that. I think that Mick Foley versus Triple H was the best way that gimmick was used. It will always, I mean, granted, we all talk about the King of the Ring,
Undertaker, Mankind,
Undertaker and Mankind, but I barely hear people talk about the Triple H versus Cactus Jack Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out. So I definitely would put that there, and then literally that sets up, you, like, if you wanted to, you could put Hell in a Cell matches for like maybe 2 matches, maybe, but like I said,
or a cage match.
Yeah. But 9 times out of 10, you're gonna want to use, if the cage is there, then the cage is gonna be used all night. If Hell in a Cell's there, it's gonna be used all night.
like the lockdown.
It's not like they're gonna sit here and they're gonna switch out. Oh, we got a cage. We got a cage now. Oh no. It's gonna be up there for the remainder of the night.
I get it.
So I feel that No Way Out would be perfect.
I like it.
To set up for, literally, if anybody needs, if just for the Rumble, because you're gonna have your Rumble winner, and they're gonna choose who they're gonna deal with. WWE champion. Yeah, they're gonna deal with either the WWE champion or the Universal champion, which that'll be a story for another day, because I hate the Universal title. So
I do too.
But, and then, like you said, Bama, like, No Way Out pushes for that next opponent for the person who doesn't have the Royal Rumble winner at Mania. So, but yeah, No Way Out set it up. Mania's right there. And you know, I feel like, in a way, because, and I'm just saying this because now I've booked this whole year.
Yeah, you got a great year there, man.
So for I'd say for May, that's when I'll have the draft.
Right after the WrestleMania season. Yeah, that's a great place to put it.
That's where I would have my draft.
Where's the draft? Where's the NFL draft? Right after the Super Bowl. Makes sense. Yep. Makes sense.
That's what I said. I was like, I would have the draft right there. So it literally starts off. SummerSlam's right there. Fully Loaded's right there.
Yep.
Rebellion is just it works itself out.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's the reason why I have the draft in December, because the Rumble shakes things up anyway. So who cares about brand loyalty at that point? We're all going for the Rumble. So whereas where they always put it right before Survivor Series is the dumbest place to put it, because I'm not going to be brand loyal if I just got here 2 weeks ago, you idiots. Anyway, Kyle, close out your final month. The month of March is what?
Gonna close it out with nothing. Just have March as a. So I had Fastlane in February. You can establish, other challengers for titles, other storylines going into Mania. Have that like mid-February or something, and then you have the rest of February and all of March just completely dedicated to TV, to building the storylines, and because oftentimes you'll have something like in mid-March, and then it's like almost it feels like there's like 2 or 3 weeks to build a WrestleMania. So I want to maximize the time for that build, and then for early April to have WrestleMania. And then once WrestleMania happens, 2 weeks after WrestleMania is when I'd have the draft. So I'm kind of on the same wavelength with you guys. 2 weeks, because the first week is kind of that first initial, it's just like an aftershock. Reaction to WrestleMania, the fallout. So once that settles down a little bit is when you can have a draft. That's how I would have it personally.
I definitely like that idea. That's definitely a very good idea, Kyle. Like, I think you like it kind of like speaks for itself. Like, it definitely speaks for itself. So like, I definitely think that's
so awesome. You would have Fastlane like probably real late February or first week of March to really give it a You give it some time, but you want to have that 3 to 4 weeks of nothing to build up to WrestleMania. Yeah,
exactly. You want to make that first quarter about WrestleMania.
I like it.
Like, I definitely like the fact that you would make March the free, because I know at some point in time, like back in the day, there was usually never a pay-per-view before.
Pre-1995, there were just 4 pay-per-views and 3 months in between. And then they started doing all the in your house stuff. So
like I thought that was pretty good, and it always felt like that as well. Getting into the Attitude Era, like it always felt like there was not a pay-per-view in the middle of like the Rumble and Mania, because it always felt like, so the Rumble's in January, and you felt like you just had this whole month where nothing was going on.
Well, they had it in your house that month.
Well, I mean, no, I'm just saying, like, as in in the Attitude Era as well. Like, it it may not have felt like.
You're right. You're right. It didn't feel like it. You're right.
Like, it never felt like it felt like they just put like a
glorified house
show. A glorified house show or a filler pay per view.
Yep.
Like that's why I say with Kyle, it seems like it would work.
I like
really
it.
Good.
I think.
I like it.
I like it. I really do. Great, guys. Awesome. I know we've gone a little bit long in this episode, but we're loving to brainstorm and fantasy book this stuff, guys. And I know all of you at home have probably done this in your head. We want to put it on paper and make it fun. So we hope you enjoyed this episode, listening-wise and viewing-wise. Once again, guys, if you liked what you heard or you like what you're listening to, follow and subscribe us, twitch.tv/SmackDraw and youtube.com/SmackDraw podcast. And we're on all major podcast platforms, wherever you listen. We appreciate you listening. Mr. J Thunder, real quick, put yourself over, sir. Where can we watch you wrestle, and what do you got coming up in the near future?
Okay, so guys, if you are tuning in to Twitch, I usually try my best to upload on Twitch. It's been kind of a rough, it's been kind of a rough year for me. With if you guys watched the show last time when I was on with Bama Dave, you guys know that I just had a second daughter, so like I'm kind of working towards the fatherhood thing and doing that. So it's kind of hard to sit here and stream and try to be on podcasts. I got kids trying to come in. I got kids trying to come into my room while we're sitting here recording.
Yeah.
But I do my best to make sure that I try my best to put some content on my Twitch channel.
Yep.
And if you guys want to check that out, that is twitch.tv forward backslash or whatever it is
slash
VJ Thunder. And I pretty much play everything. I usually try my best to kind of like put stuff in for like bookings for 2K19, so I do that. I mean, wrestling related right now it's kind of slow because I'm getting, this is the beginning of the year, so not too much is going on right now, especially with COVID being a thing, and it seems like it's kind of like rising as well. But in February I will be back in the ring wrestling at a promotion called Crash Tested Wrestling. You can definitely check them out. If you guys can check them out at Crash Tested Wrestling on YouTube. It's literally right there. Some of my matches will be there.
Great.
And you can also check out my first match at Crash Tested Wrestling in the at the YouTube channel. But other than that, like, this is where I am right now. Just gonna be a working dad, trying my best to get bookings. Hopefully with Bama Dave, because I enjoy. This is the second time I've been on the show with you for two times. The first time that I was on with you, it was the first time I met you, and I just love the chemistry.
I appreciate it.
Everything
man.
works out so well. Like even like with Kyle, like we even sat here and it's kind of like we just met today. So the chemistry is just,
it's been a great time, man.
It's been a great time. So like I would love to actually be on whenever you guys have the chance, whenever you guys got schedules. Like I'm definitely all for it, but I'm not gonna keep babbling
dude, you're fine, man.
We also got Kyle. He's down here.
Yeah,
he's down here. But if you guys want to check me out, you guys can check me out at Instagram at JThunder. Those are all at JThunder 2009. Those are all lowercase. You can check me out at Twitter. JThunder, the J and the T is capitalized 2009. And if you guys happen to any wrestling promoters, hey, send me a shout. I have my booking information in my Twitch, in my Twitter, on my Twitter account.
Right.
So I'm willing to travel.
Okay.
So.
Awesome. Mr. Kyle, what's coming up on the Apron Bump podcast, sir?
Yes, sir. So the Apron Bump podcast, I do retro reviews of all sorts of wrestling promotions, big, small, across 4 different decades. And I have an episode dropping just in a matter of hours, actually. It'll be King of the Ring 1995. So going back.
Good one.
Mabel.
That's a show that happened. That's for sure.
It happened.
But I also do Ring of Honor, TNA stuff, other independent stuff. So go check that out if you want a variety of retro reviews. Apronbump.com. You can pretty much find everything associated with me. You can listen, watch wherever from there. Wherever you listen to podcasts, I'm on YouTube as well. You can find all my social media. Follow me on Twitter at Apron Bump. That's probably where I'm most active. But yeah, Jay. And you say you have kids trying to bust into your room. I don't know if you could hear it. But my cat is clawing at my door right now, so I completely understand. I understand the struggle.
Quick question, Kyle. I have to know. Have you guys gone over Victory Road yet?
Which year?
I think that's 2011.
No, so I actually go chronologically, and I'm at the end of 2005 right now. So eventually I will. It'll be a while, but
And then so that means that you haven't gone through December to December.
No, not yet. But if you, I'll keep you in mind for both of those shows.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no. I just curious because I just like to know, because there are certain people that they have different ideas and like pay-per-views. Like there are certain people that feel like a pay-per-view was like horrible, just trash, just fire bin. But then there are people that feel like, oh, it wasn't a bad pay-per-view.
You're a silver lining viewer.
Yeah, like,
always good to have that.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I try to create here on the Bama Slammer, is a place where you can come and just be a fan, where you can come and just enjoy there's so many podcasts out there that are tearing stuff apart or analyzing and critiquing and all of that. And if that's your thing, that's fine. I try to live a kayfabe fan lifestyle, so I want my show to be a place where when you leave my show, you're more excited about the pay-per-view, or you're more excited about whatever the topic is we're talking about, and you leave feeling more jazzed that you're a wrestling fan. That's my goal. If that happens after the show, mission accomplished. And you can follow me at BamaDave24. Like I said, you can follow the brand at SmackDraw Podcast on Twitter, and you can follow the Bama Slammer Wrestling Podcast at Bama Slammer. This has been how we would book the WWE pay-per-view calendar, and until the next time we drop the hammer, thank you for helping us fill out our WWE pay-per-view planners here on the Bama Slammer. Have a good night, everybody.